Very good. Okay, we are on 41A3. Um, we were learning about the Omer. We're learning about the cutting of the Omer, the special korban that was brought on the second day of Pesach, on the 16th day of Nisan. And that korban, as a result of the bringing of that korban, you were able to eat from the new crop anything that took root. Um, after Pesach from last year, that crop now becomes to be permitted to be eaten as a result of the bringing of this korban omer on the second day of Pesach. So you have to wait to the bringing of the korban omer on the second day of Pesach. Once the korban omer is brought on the second day of Pesach, then anything that you planted past last Pesach, anything that took root past last Pesach now becomes permitted. Until then, that's called chadash. The crop from, let's say, this past Pesach, anything that was planted this past after this past Pesach, that in 2023, that crop that grew is called chadash. It's called new grain, and that grain is forbidden to be eaten until the second day of Pesach when we bring the korban omer. When we bring the new crop, it's the new crop of barley that was harvested and brought to the Beit HaMikdash. The Mishnah stated that Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai made an enactment. What was his enactment? His enactment was that when the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed, he was living at that time, he said that the whole day of the 16th, nobody could eat the new crop until the end of the day of the 16th. So when the Beit HaMikdash was around, they would bring the korban during the day of the 16th. The Gemara is going to say they would not pass noon. They would bring it, they would be finished and bring the korban by noon. So wherever you are in the world, in the time the Beit HaMikdash was standing, you knew you could eat the new crop after noon. But when the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed, Rabbi Yochanan instituted you cannot eat the new crop in the afternoon. You have that whole afternoon, you have to wait until the nighttime. So you lost that afternoon time. Let's say if noon would be 12 o'clock. So when the Beit HaMikdash was around, good morning, Aaron, welcome back. When the Beit HaMikdash was around, you could start eating the new crop at 12, you could eat the new grain at 12 o'clock. And anybody who was by the Beit HaMikdash area and saw when they brought the korban, if they brought it at 10 o'clock in the morning, you could already start eating at 10 o'clock in the morning. But once the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed, he said that you cannot eat from the new crop until the end of the day of the 16th. The Gemara asks the question, why do we need to wait just to bring Aaron up to date? There's a halacha that applies for sure in Eretz Yisrael, things that grew in Eretz Yisrael, and there's a question about things that grew here outside of Eretz Yisrael. If something was planted, let's say post-Pesach last year, do I have to wait to eat from those grains, wheat, barley, oat, spelt, or rye? I mean, the halacha is you have to wait, in anything planted in Eretz Yisrael, you have to wait until the korban omer, the special korban, special offering that was brought on the second day of Pesach. Only after you brought that offering could you eat from the things that grew from after last Pesach. Now, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai says today we have no Beit HaMikdash. You have to wait until after the 16th. And outside of the land of Israel, the Shulchan Aruch says you have to wait till after the 17th. Now, the Gemara wants to know, why did he make this enactment? You cannot eat the new grain until the end of the day of the 16th. So the Gemara says the following. Because people follow their habits, and we're looking forward to the Beit HaMikdash being rebuilt. And if the Beit HaMikdash will be rebuilt this coming year, which we're hoping for, what is that biblical law? If the Beit HaMikdash when the Beit HaMikdash is destroyed, when can I eat the new grain according to the biblical law, according to the Torah? So when I don't have the Beit HaMikdash, really, this opinion in the Gemara holds in the morning of the 16th, meaning you gain time. Meaning, once there's two psukim, one pasuk says that when you bring the korban, when you bring the offering, that allows you to eat the new grain. There's another pasuk that says that once the day of the 16th comes, that's how that's a translation, etzem hayom hazeh, which can be translated until this very day, until the morning of the 16th comes, you can eat the new korban once the morning comes. So how do you explain that verse? So you can explain that verse, it depends. When the Beit HaMikdash is not around, then you don't have to wait till the korban is, there's no korban to wait for. So then when the morning kicks in, of the morning of the second day of Pesach kicks in, let's say tonight would have been let's say tonight's the first Seder, let's say a Seder, the Seder of Pesach, tonight is Yom Tov. Tonight, let's say tomorrow is the first day of Pesach. So the next day, the next morning, you could already start eating the new crop if there's no Beit HaMikdash. If there is a Beit HaMikdash, you can't wait till the next morning. You would have to wait until the korban is brought. So on a Torah level, you're allowed to go ahead and eat, according to this opinion, the new crop in the morning of the 16th. But when the Beit HaMikdash is around, your allowance does not begin in the morning. You have to wait until, which will take a couple of hours into the day, until the korban is brought. Now, if you remember, if we would allow you to just follow the biblical law when the Beit HaMikdash is destroyed, and allow you to go ahead and eat the new grain in the morning of the 16th. So for last year, when the Mikdash was destroyed, we allow you to eat the new grain in the morning. So this year, when the Beit HaMikdash hopefully will be rebuilt, people will make a mistake, and people will also eat in the morning the new grain, the new crop. They'll give to their children for breakfast the new crop. But the problem is, now that the Beit HaMikdash is rebuilt, you cannot eat it in the morning. You have to wait until the korban is brought. So in order to ensure that people won't violate that biblical law, so the rabbis made an enactment that now that the Beit HaMikdash is destroyed, we should wait till the end of the day. So now wait at the end of the day. So when the Beit HaMikdash is going to be rebuilt, so they'll have brought the korban way before the end of the day, and therefore everybody will be good. There won't be any violation of the Torah. Is that clear? Does everyone get this clear? Ralph, you got it? Okay, everyone got it? This is what the Gemara, that's what the Gemara says. Now we are on 41a3 on the right side. The Ivnei Eimat. You're telling me that there's an issue of the Beit HaMikdash being, where there's a concern that when the Beit HaMikdash will be rebuilt, we want to protect the Jewish people of that, for that generation when the Beit HaMikdash is going to be rebuilt. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Rabbi.
Okay, so Mark, we just said, and a little review for some of the people, that the rabbis, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, with the rabbis of his generation, he was the leading rabbi there, made an enactment that you cannot eat. Now that the Beit HaMikdash is destroyed, we cannot eat the new grain on the whole day of the 16th. The 16th is the second day of Pesach. Pesach begins on the 15th of Nisan is Pesach. 16th is the second day of Pesach. There was something special in the time of the Beit HaMikdash that came down on the 16th, was the bringing of the Korban Omer. And that bringing of that Korban Omer allowed us to eat the new grain once, right, Aaron? Then the Korban was brought, then you can eat the new grain. But when the Beit HaMikdash is not around, when it's destroyed, this opinion in the Gemara holds, if it's destroyed, there's no korban to bring on the 16th. So the morning of the 16th, let's say 6 o'clock in the morning, it's already, whatever dawn comes, then in the morning, you're already allowed to eat the new grain. Meaning the window of eating it is longer, begins earlier.
But now they pushed it out a day.
And now they pushed it out a day. Exactly. They pushed off a day. On a Torah level, let's say if this morning, if today would be the 16th of Nisan, the second day of Pesach, technically, and there's no Beit HaMikdash, technically this morning, when it was dawn this morning, when there was rays of light in the east, could be maybe 72 minutes before sunrise, whatever that time might be, that time allowed us on a Torah level to eat the new crop. There's no Beit HaMikdash here today to wait to the korban to be brought in order to eat the new crop. When there's a Beit HaMikdash, you got to wait to the Korban to be brought. That could take a few hours into the day. No Beit HaMikdash, this opinion holds. You can eat it immediately in the morning. Okay, so what's the problem? There's no Beit HaMikdash this year, so let's eat it in the morning. Let's say there's no Beit HaMikdash. Why should you tell me wait? Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said, don't eat it early in the morning. Don't eat it the whole day. Wait till the night. What's his concern? Because his concern is if you would have allowed us, let's say last year, where there was no Beit HaMikdash, if you would have allowed us to go on the biblical law of eating 6 o'clock in the morning on the 16th, so this year, when the Beit HaMikdash hopefully will be rebuilt, you know what will happen? People will eat 6 o'clock in the morning again. They're going to give the breakfast to their children or the grandkids. But you can't get of the new grain. But if there's a Beit HaMikdash, the habit that you did last year doesn't apply for this year. You have to wait till the Korban is brought. So you have to wait till a few hours into the day until the Korban is brought. So in order to ensure that people won't follow what they did last year when there was no Beit HaMikdash, and if they would do that this year as well, they would violate the Torah law of eating from the new crop before the Korban was brought. So therefore, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, looking forward to the Beit HaMikdash being built, said we cannot eat this year, the year that the Beit HaMikdash is not there and is down. You cannot eat the new crop until the nighttime of after the 16th passes. Yes, Jaime.
Rabbi, if I'm off topic, you could just ignore it and keep moving on. I don't want to take us off on a tangent. Did any of these rules lead to the corruption that eventually happened in the Beit HaMikdash? Because it sounds like a lot of rules around the Kohanim and the Leviim and, taxing food and all that. Did this contribute to some of that corruption?
I don't think so. I think here this is more, I think, of just protecting the people. So the people, I don't think, sometimes we found by Shlomo HaMelech when his son Rechavam, when he was maintaining the Beit HaMikdash, he put high taxes on the people to help support the Beit HaMikdash, which the people were not happy about and caused problems. And the very interesting over there is when the people weren't happy, just to get off on an interesting note, there was there was a question what to do. The people are saying we're not happy with the high taxes. So Rechavam had different advisors. He had his young friends, what he grew up with, and he had his father's, Shlomo's advisors. And who did he seek counsel from? He sought counsel from his young friends instead of going to Shlomo. Shlomo's advisors, the old people said, you know what, take it easy on the people. Don't tax them so much. And things will be good, whatever. But Shlomo's friends, but his friends, Rechavam's friend says, no, be strong on the people, really tax them. And eventually they rebelled and split the kingdom. But that would be, that's the type of thing that could cause people resentment a lot. But here, I think it was just the rabbis were just protecting the people, and they only added one day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. or whatever it is that they can't eat the new grain. So I don't think it wasn't such a great.
No, I'm not asking this specific one. I'm just thinking of all of them. There's so many rules and layers of restrictions and taxes and tithes on the different crops and all that. I'm just wondering, were they really holy in Shem Shamayim, or like you said before, were they just overtaxing the people with conditions?
So these are holy l'shem, 100% holy l'shem Shamayim. Now Rechavam, even Rechavam he's a good man, but he thought, how do you run a country? You have to sometimes be strong, But we're dealing with people that were l'shem Shamayim, and they were doing
Rabbi,
it. Yes. For the right reasons, Jaime. These were all for the right reasons. Yes.
Giving a percentage to Leviim and Kohanim and Ras and all of this was all for the first Beit HaMikdash. It wasn't during the second Beit HaMikdash.
Again, giving to the second Beit HaMikdash also would have.
No, but it wasn't instituted. Like there was corruption. There was corruption in the second Beit HaMikdash. Jaime's question was around taking from the people. If I'm reading it right, taking it from the people was leading towards some sort of corruption. Taking taking 10% of your crop or 2% of your crop and giving, giving it to the Levim and the Kohanim. But that was not in the second Beit HaMikdash, and that wasn't instituted in the second. It was instituted in the first. Again, it's not really related to the corruption at all.
Yeah, but those laws are really independent of the Beit HaMikdash or not. Even today, they deal with the Truma. They deal with it in Eretz Yisrael with the Maaseh today also. That's biblical law. The Maaseh, the Truma, those are biblical law. The corruption in the Beit HaMikdash and the second Beit HaMikdash, a lot we find was by the Kohen Gadol was very corrupt. A lot of corruption in the Kohen Gadol that they were buying the position of the leadership.
They're buying the position. But what do you mean they're doing it today? They don't give.
But they do the tithing
today. Of the crop today.
They don't give it because of the. They don't give it because of the Tumah, because there are different issues. But there are in Eretz Yisrael. There's the tithing. There's the Maaseh. They remove it. They do certain things to the crop. The crop is subject to certain things. We have to see in Eretz Yisrael how they do it, but it does apply today. You know, the tithing, the Maaseh there. That's
really my question. These holy concepts that were meant to sustain the people who, the Leviim and the poor, how they ran away and became these corrupt concepts eventually, which probably destroyed the Beit HaMikdash.
I mean, the corrupt concept, it would only be corrupt when the right people didn't get it, and people kept it for themselves. The people gave it to the wrong people. That would be that's my
point. The flaws of man ran away with these holy concepts and eventually corrupted them.
It could be like anything else. People misusing funds that should be going to certain people if they took it for themselves. That could be.
Jaime, I don't think it led to corruption whatsoever. I think you want to say some people, like, they take tzedakah, they do the wrong thing with it. That's what you're talking about. But the concept and what happened, there was no revolt around it. There's no corruption. There's no outward, there's no big unveiling of corruption about it. When they say corruption in the second Beit HaMikdash, I think it revolved mostly around the Kohen Gadol and buying positions, and money became.
I imagine in that environment, Mark, when they were buying the position of Kohen Gadol, that those taxes and all that became resented by the people. You see corruption at the top there, you think the whole system is corrupt. I'm just speculating the environment eventually became tainted.
Okay, so this is something that we'll have to look into how it affected the whole overall community.
That's what I'm wondering. Does the Gemara deal with that period when the Kohen Gadol became a corrupt item and how that affected the whole system?
Okay, so that would have to be researched. I mean, we know that Shemitah, the people that had trouble, that might have been not because of corruption. The people were not ready on the level. Many people did not keep Shemitah. That's an old problem. So we see that maybe people weren't had enough faith to keep Shemitah. So that didn't seem to be what
I would guess that if they lost faith in it, they lost faith in the system, not the idea.
Okay. So maybe
my question really, does the Gemara ever address it head on in that period of time where people were resenting it?
Right. So I would have to look at. I have to do my homework for such a question. That requires research. Okay. Good. Something to think about. So now the Gemara says we're on 41a3. So the Gemara says the Ivnai Eimat. When was the Beit HaMikdash? What are we concerned about? Rabbi Yochanan is concerned Beit HaMikdash Monimah. Beit HaMikdash is going to be rebuilt. And we're going to do a sin where he's afraid, he wants to protect us from sin. When is the Beit HaMikdash going to be rebuilt? If it's built in the 16th, let's say it's built on the second day of Pesach. So if it was built, if today is the second day of Pesach, so when this morning came already, it's permitted to eat the new grain. Because we said when there's no Beit HaMikdash, when the morning comes, this opinion holds, it's good. You can get served breakfast. With the new, we're not supposed to, we, the adults, don't eat before davening, right? But the kids can eat before davening. So let's get the breakfast out. And what's the problem? If the Beit HaMikdash is going to be rebuilt in the morning of the 16th, but once dawn came, it's already if it came before the Beit HaMikdash was rebuilt, you could eat the new grain. So what's the problem? Ella, the problem is, what's the problem? The Ibanei B'Chamisa. It will maybe the Beit HaMikdash was built. Let's say we finished on the first day of Pesach. Let's say today's the second day of Pesach. It'll be finished yesterday. So if the Beit HaMikdash was built yesterday, you know what? The Kohanim are very fast, and they're going to make sure that the Korban will already be brought by noon of the second day of Pesach. So why does Rabbi Yochanan say eat the whole day? I can't eat the whole day. You should say from afternoon it's good, but you know from afternoon time you have already. Let's say the day is a 12-hour day, 6 and 6. You know from the second 6 hours of the day, from 12 o'clock to the evening, you already know the korban was brought because mechatzot hayom al ham tishri. Why? That now we learned in the Mishnah, harachokim, people who are far away from Jerusalem, who don't know if they did not see the cutting of the omer and the bringing of the korban. Mutarim mechatzot hayom al halan. If you lived the time of the Beit HaMikdash, you knew on the second day of Pesach, from noontime and onwards, you could eat. The fisha ain't bezdin, the bezdin that were supervising the court, the Jewish court that was supervising the bringing of the korban and the processing of the korban, the sifting of the korban, the drying of the grain of the korban, the whole process. They made sure they were not misas limbo. They were not lazy about it. They made it as soon as possible. They should bring it by noon. So what's the problem? Why forbade the whole day? Just forbade until noon, and then after noon you're good. When there's no Beit HaMikdash, when there's a Beit HaMikdash, anybody who lives in Jerusalem, right, exactly. When there is a Beit HaMikdash, anybody who sees the bringing of the korban from that time, you could already eat. If you saw you were 11 o'clock in the morning, you already saw it was done, you could do it. If you live in Tel Aviv, you know from the noontime and on, you could already start eating. So the Gemara says, "Lo tzricha." You know what the case is that we need is enactment. The Ibanei B'Layla, the Beit HaMikdash, let's say, was built tonight. Let's say today is the 15th. Tomorrow is the 16th. And they're trying. They're working. Now, so that Tosfos is going to get into that issue. What's going on? The Beit HaMikdash being built on you're not allowed to build the Beit HaMikdash on Shabbat. You're not allowed to build the Beit HaMikdash on Yom Tov. Good morning, Daniel. So what does this Gemara mean? That it was built, the Beit HaMikdash was built on, and then now again the first case when the Gemara says if we're talking about if the Beit HaMikdash was built, now the 16th is not a problem because the 16th is Chol Hamoed already, right? The day of Yom Tov is the 15th of Nisan. So tonight, if they built the Beit HaMikdash tonight. If today was the first day of Yom Tov, last night we had to say the Pesach, we're now in the land of Israel. Last night we had to say this one day Yom Tov. Last night we had to say that today's the first day of Yom Tov. Tonight is not Yom Tov, right? So if the Beit HaMikdash was built tonight, okay, there's no problem building the Beit HaMikdash tonight. So it's a different problem. You're not allowed to build at night. The mitzvah of building Beit HaMikdash is by day. So that's going to be an issue on this scenario. How can you say the Beit HaMikdash, maybe it's going to be built at night? You can't build it at night. That's not going to be Tosfos' question. It's going to be a fascinating answer. What? What do you mean it's not a question? Okay, either the 14th or if it's all right, or the 16th the 16th of Chol Hamoed. Day of the 16th, and then what if right? And then I can already eat the. So these are Tosfos' questions. So Tosfos has an amazing answer. What does Tosfos say? Just to bring Daniel up to date, we're learning about that you cannot, that when the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed, Rabbi Yochanan enacted that you cannot eat the new grain, the Chadash, that was planted after Pesach, the last Pesach, on the whole day of the 16th. You have to wait the end of the 16th. And the Gemara wants to know why you have to wait the end of the 16th. What's the concern? So the Gemara says, good morning, Boaz. The Gemara says maybe they will build the Beit HaMikdash at night, if tonight is the 16th, and then if they build the Beit HaMikdash at night, so if it was built at night, so they didn't start, let's say it's built 2 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock at night, 11 p.m., 12 p.m. If it's built at night, then you have there was less time for the people to be involved in the processing of the cutting of the Omer. Let's say when the Beit HaMikdash was not when the Beit HaMikdash was around, they would start cutting the Omer the beginning of the night. Let's say the beginning of the night they would cut the Omer, so therefore they would be able to finish the processing at the right time. But if the Beit HaMikdash was not around, so they weren't busy. Yes. Building, right? Finish building the Beit HaMikdash. Right. So finish building the Beit HaMikdash. Maybe they finish at 11 p.m., 12 p.m. If you finish 11 p.m., then you're going to start getting busy. Now we're going to go start cutting the grain for the Omer. So then that could delay. The Gemara is going to say that could delay us past the noontime. If that situation, and therefore we won't be able to. We might not bring the korban until afternoon, and therefore Rabbi Yochanan is afraid. If you're going to go ahead and allow the person to eat the new grain from noontime on, it's possible that the korban is going to be brought. The Beit HaMikdash, it's possible Beit HaMikdash is already standing because they finished building the Beit HaMikdash the night before, in the middle of the night, and now they're going to bring the korban, but they're not going to process the korban until afternoon. So if you ate from noontime, you would have violated the prohibition of eating from the new crop before the korban omer was brought. So therefore, to protect everybody, the rabbi said you got to wait till after the end of the day. But that doesn't answer our question. How are you building at night? So Tosfos says one answer. The question is a very big question. How was the third bit? What's it? Rashi's first. Rashi's older than Tosfos. Oh, so Rashi's position is going to be that how could you build it at night? So Rashi says, so Rashi and Tosfos are going to address the same issue, and they're both going to come up with the same answer. The question is, the third Beit HaMikdash, the laws that the Beit HaMikdash can only be built at night, cannot be built on Yom Tov. That's only if we're building it. The Torah says, good morning, Jack. The Torah says we cannot, that we're going to have a Vayakel coming, this week's Parashas Kisisa, but we're going to have a Vayakel where we talk about Shabbat connected to the Mishkan, that the connection between Shabbat and Mishkan is that even though the Mishkan, such a holy thing, you have to build a Mishkan, but the Mishkan does not supersede Shabbat. You cannot build a Mishkan on Shabbat. You can't build a Beit HaMikdash on Shabbat. That's if you're building it. But the third Beit HaMikdash is a very big controversy. Who's building the third Beit HaMikdash? Are we going to build the third Beit HaMikdash? Or is the Beit HaMikdash going to be a heavenly sent Beit HaMikdash from heaven? That's the big question. So Rashi's position is that the Binyan Beit HaMikdash, the third Beit HaMikdash that we're looking forward to happening, is going to come from Min HaShamayim. Because based on a pasuk that we say, Mikdash Hashem Konanu Yodecha, right? The pasuk says that the Mikdash of Hashem was Konanu Yodecha. That's the Mikdash that the way this translation would be, and they're understanding it is something that is Hashem. This is what we say, and today we're going to be saying in the Shachrit, in the Oz Yoshir, right before Hashem Yimloch Lo Ved, right before Yishtabach, it says right over there, it says Mikdash, it says part of a pasuk, Ad Yavo Am Sukanita, Tvi'ema V'tite'ema Anachlatcha, Mochon L'shtiftecha Pa'alta Hashem, Mikdash Hashem Koni Yodecha. Right?
Say that pasuk slowly. Mikdash Hashem.
I'm going to read it the right way. It says like this: Tivi'emo v'tite'emo b'hanachalatcha mochol l'shiftecha pa'alta Adonai Mikdash Adonai Koranu Yodecha. That's what we're going to say. So that pasuk, the Mikdash Hashem, is Koranu Yodecha. That your hands, right, Boaz? So they're translating it their understanding of Rashi's understanding and Tosfos' understanding is that this Mikdash, listen, the rain comes from heaven. You get a lot of things from heaven. So what's the big deal? Hashem will send you, Hashem will, right, Aaron? He'll send it to the Beit HaMikdash. And that Beit HaMikdash, Hashem is not restricted from sending that Beit HaMikdash at night. That law of building at night has to do with us building, not to do with Hashem. Hashem could build it at night. Hashem could go ahead and build it on and Yom Tov. So Tosfos says that the concern that the Beit HaMikdash might be built in the middle of the night of the if today was the first day of Pesach, tonight it might be built in the middle of the night. It might be coming in the middle of the night, and if it comes in the middle of the night, there's not enough time for them to process the Korban Omer until maybe in the afternoon. And they only will have brought the Korban in the afternoon. If they bring the Korban in the afternoon, if you're going to allow the people to eat from noontime, they're eating too early. They're offside. Oh, so according to this morning, the total law is when there's no Beit HaMikdash, this is this opinion, you can eat in the morning. But when there is a Beit HaMikdash, gotta wait till the Korban is brought on that day. That's in Israel. Again, you can't eat from grain of Israel, according to all opinions. Grain that was grown in Israel, you can't eat in Israel. When the Beit HaMikdash is around, you can't eat it until the Korban was brought, or by midday, it was done. And with no Beit HaMikdash, technically early in the morning, you get the breakfast out for the people who are allowed to eat early in the morning. You were allowed to eat early in the morning. So that's what the Gemara says. But when there's no Beit HaMikdash, and maybe the concern is will be built in the middle of the night, or it will be built late today. Let's say today's the 15th. So if the Beit HaMikdash would be built again on Yom Tov, again the Tosfos' explanation, it can't be through us. It only could be through someone. Hashem could build it on Yom Tov, right? So if it's built by Hashem, he's not restricted. He's not restricted even, so therefore, that's how you can have the concern of the problem. They won't have enough time to process it before noon the next day. So that's what the Gemara says. In Lotzricha di'ibani b'layla, inami samuch l'shkiat hachama. Or they'll build to push it right in half a day, whatever you want to call it, for one day, right? We push it on a total level, right? On a total level, you could go ahead and eat it in the morning of the 16th when there's no Beit HaMikdash. But the rabbi, Rabbi Yochanan, said this whole day window from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., we're going to say you can't eat it. Out of concern that the Beit HaMikdash might come at that night before, the rabbis made it that you cannot eat it the whole day. Really, because really we wanted to give him an extra 6 hours, right? Good morning. We wanted to give him 6 hours earlier, right? The Gemara had a question. Why can't you start eating on this morning 6 hours into the day? Here, 12 o'clock in the because here the concern is there might not be enough time for them to bring the Korban at the right time because of the building of the Mikdash happened in the middle of the night or late in the day, the previous day. Okay, so now the Gemara says, Oma Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak Oma. Rav Nachman says, Rabbi Yochanan Mezakai v'shitat Rabbi Yehuda Amra. Rabbi Yochanan Mezakai, he understands a different thing. What Mark was talking about, we're talking about the second day, the mitzvah, the new crop. Anything you planted after Pesach in the land of Israel, you cannot eat that crop until the second day of the next Pesach. Anything that's grew from after Pesach from last year, 2023, that grain you have to wait until the second day of Pesach when they bring the Korban. So now the question is the following: if there's no Beit, when there was the Beit HaMikdash, we said you can eat last year's the new grain once the Korban was brought. When the Beit HaMikdash, when there's no Beit HaMikdash, what's the law? Do you have? We said until now you have to eat it a meal in the morning, right? In the morning of the 16th. Once the morning comes. However, now the Gemara brings a different opinion that Rabbi Yochanan was not creating a rabbinic enactment. Rather, Rabbi Yochanan was publicizing a Torah law. That Rabbi Yochanan was publicizing that when the Beit HaMikdash is not around, you have to wait until the end of the day of the 16th. You don't have the morning. If today's the second day of Pesach, it's not that if there's no Beit HaMikdash, you have a right to eat the new crop on a Torah level in the morning. Right. He's saying you have to wait till the night. Why? Because the pasuk says you eat the new crop on etzem hayom hazeh, until this very day, until the 16th. What does it mean until the 16th comes? Till the end of the 16th? Until and including? Or until and when the day begins? You hear the question? So when you say the word until. It could be the night of the 15th or the night of the 16th. You can't do it on the night of the 15th. Say it again? In other words, if you say until the 16th. Right. So he said the 15th is over, it's the 16th. Right, but it says but it says at etzem, the essence of the day. Until that day. Right. Does it mean the beginning of the day? Right. So the Gemara is using two possibilities. Until that day, does it mean the morning of that day or the end of the day? And that's the argument. And we'll end with that. When people late to it, he's explaining that the second opinion says it's the end of the day, and Rabbi Yochanan makes this enactment to publicize this to the people because everybody was used to be when they were the Beit HaMikdash, they would eat in the middle of the day when the Beit HaMikdash. But the Beit HaMikdash was built. No, that was right. When there was a Beit HaMikdash, you could eat it when they brought the korban, the middle of the day. They brought the korban by 12 o'clock. They brought the korban. But now that there's no Beit HaMikdash, now you got to tell the people you can't eat it by 1. You can't eat the whole day. That's what he published. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you for joining. Every second counts. Yes.
Wow. But we always count the day at the end in the Jewish calendar.
We start at the beginning of the night, but he erev vayivokeh, and it goes throughout the whole day.
So they say,
but it says right till the actual day, till the day of the 16th. We don't count the day until sundown. That's a good point. Because of the fact that the pasuk emphasizes the day at etzem hayom hazeh, could have said at yom, but it said it's until that day. That language indicates it's referring to, it's not the night. The etzem hayom, that actual day, that emphasizes either the morning or the whole day. Good point, Aaron.